On a bright morning in Beijing, as military bands struck triumphant notes and columns of soldiers marched in perfect formation, the world's attention turned to a spectacle of steel and symbolism. China, under the watchful gaze of President Xi Jinping, unveiled a dazzling display of its latest military hardware. From hulking missile launchers to stealth drones and even robotic wolves, the parade was more than just a celebration of national strength. It was a carefully choreographed message to the United States and its allies. Among the guests seated beside Xi were Russia's Vladimir Putin and North Korea's Jong, two leaders who rely on Beijing for economic and political lifelines. Their presence underscored the global stakes of the event. For Xi Jinping, the parade was not only a demonstration of military prowess, but also a statement of his growing stature on the world stage. Yet behind the pomp and futuristic machinery lies a deeper story about how far China has come, where it is headed, and the challenges it still faces. A decade ago, China's military parades often invited smirks from Western observers. Many of the weapons looked like crude copies of American designs, and few believed the People's Liberation Army, PLA, could rival the Pentagon's cutting-edge arsenal. But the latest display told a different story. The rows of missiles, drones, and stealth fighters suggested a defense industry that has matured rapidly, shifting from imitation to innovation. Analysts like Michael Raska of Nanyang Technological University see this as evidence of an industrial machine that can now churn out not just replicas, but original platforms tailored to Beijing's strategic aims. China's top-down political system, with its ability to channel vast resources into defense projects, gives it a production edge. As Alexander Neal of the Pacific Forum observes, Beijing can simply order factories to produce new weapons at scale and ability that could overwhelm adversaries through sheer volume. Still, the question lingers: can the PLA actually use these advanced systems effectively? With no major war experience in decades, China's military remains untested. Flashy equipment on parade grounds may not translate into agility on the battlefield, where split-second decisions and adaptability often decide outcomes. If one theme dominated the parade, it was China's reliance on missiles as the backbone of its strategy. Towering launchers carried the Dongfeng 61, capable of delivering multiple warheads, and the Dongfeng 26D, ominously nicknamed the Guam Killer, for its ability to strike U.S. bases in the Pacific. Hypersonic anti-ship missiles like the YJ-17 and YJ-19 promised to outmaneuver missile defenses, threatening the U.S. Navy's carrier strike groups. This missile-centric posture reflects Beijing's desire to offset America's maritime supremacy. The U.S. Navy's carrier fleets remain unmatched, but to Chinese strategists, they are also vulnerable sitting ducks. By building an arsenal capable of punching holes in the American shield, Beijing hopes to establish deterrence and ensure it has a credible second strike capability, essentially the ability to hit back even after suffering an attack. Other futuristic weapons added to the spectacle. A laser system known as the LY-1, said to disable electronics or blind pilots, and fifth-generation stealth jets like the J-20 and J-35, intended to rival the F-35s of the West. Together, they painted a picture of a military seeking not just parity, but an edge in critical areas of modern warfare. Perhaps the most striking displays came from the skies and seas of the future. China rolled out an array of drones, from nimble reconnaissance craft to the massive AJX-002 submarine drone, an unmanned underwater vehicle stretching 20 meters long. Designed for surveillance and potentially sabotage, it hinted at China's growing interest in dominating undersea warfare. Above the ground, the GJ-11 stealth drone, dubbed the Loyal Wingman, was designed to fly alongside manned fighters, carrying out strikes and confusing enemy defenses. And then came the robotic wolves, four-legged machines whose exact role remains uncertain, but which experts suggest could scout, detect mines, or even hunt down enemy soldiers. These developments reveal a military eager to embed artificial intelligence into its strategy. Where Western powers often debate the risks of putting AI in the kill chain, China appears unhesitant. As Raska notes, Beijing believes it can control AI, and is determined to exploit its speed. Decisions made in nanoseconds could spell the difference between victory and defeat. The lesson of Ukraine, where cheap drones have eroded traditional defenses, is not lost on Beijing. In the wars of tomorrow, swarms of machines may matter more than fleets of tanks. Despite the technological spectacle, the United States retains a crucial advantage: how it fights. American forces operate in a bottom-up culture, where frontline units are empowered to adapt and improvise. In contrast, the PLA remains rigidly top-down. Orders must flow from the highest levels before action can be taken. a structure that risks paralysis in the chaos of combat. Incidents already suggest cracks in this system. Just weeks ago, a Chinese warship collided with one of its own smaller vessels during a tense encounter with the Philippine Coast Guard. Such mishaps cast doubt on whether the PLA's high-tech arsenal can translate into seamless battlefield performance. For all its advanced weaponry, China may still struggle to match the operational agility of its chief rival. Yet the parade was about more than military science. It was also about politics and commerce. With dozens of foreign leaders in attendance, the event doubled as a live catalog of Chinese arms, offered to potential buyers from Asia, Africa, and beyond. Countries like Myanmar already purchase vast quantities of Chinese weapons, but Beijing clearly hopes to expand its clientele. Arms sales, after all, are not just business, they are a way to deepen alliances and extend influence. The presence of Putin and Kim beside Xi symbolized more than friendship. It was a reminder to Washington that a challenge to China could mean facing a coalition across multiple flashpoints: the Korean Peninsula, the Taiwan Strait, and even the battlefields of Ukraine. For the United States, stretched across these fronts, the prospect of multi-theater pressure is a sobering one. China's Grand Parade was more than pageantry. It was a declaration that the country is no longer content to trail the West, but intends to shape the future of warfare. Missiles capable of reaching Guam, drones swarming across the skies, robotic wolves prowling the battlefield, each was a symbol of ambition, innovation, and intent. Yet, behind the spectacle lies uncertainty. Can a military untested in modern war translate technology into triumph? Can a rigid hierarchy command the speed demanded by AI-driven battlefields? These are the questions the parade did not answer. What it did show, unmistakably, was that China is not just building weapons. It is building a narrative of power, one aimed at its rivals, its allies, and the world.